Okay, so Yokai and I decided to draw into the top eight as there's only 3 rounds tonight, but Yokai agreed to do a match so I can bring you an extra match. So I'm gonna keep this hand. This hand is pretty good. We have a Frogmite, a Chromatic Star, a Springleaf Drum, a Fling in case we draw a Tog, and a Galvanic Blast. I think he's on Mono Black Control, which should be a good way to test because I don't think that this matchup's actually very good. So it should be interesting to see how it goes. I'm gonna play Springleaf Drum first. Um, I think this way it kind of frees up a mana. I'm not exactly sure how the math goes. Math is not my forte tonight. All right, so we just have a bunch of burn in our hands, so if we can just unload it all to be fine. I actually did not mean to do that, but I guess it doesn't really matter because I don't really plan on Galvanic blasting like right now. Right now, probably has a disfigure. Yep. I'm just gonna let that go. I'm not gonna Galvanic blast him or draw with a Chromatic Star. I don't see the point. Kumbaj Witches. Okay. Well, Kumbaj Witches luckily is not as bad for this deck as it would be for Goblins, so I don't have to worry about that, thankfully. Thoughtcast is good, so we'll go ahead and cast Thoughtcast before playing this in case we want to play an Ancient Den. We drew Mere Enforcer and a Carapace Forger. Okay, so unfortunately, since I tapped the green because I wasn't thinking, I can't actually cast the Carapace Forger. Of course, it wasn't a matter of me not thinking, just a matter of I wasn't really playing around drawing the Carapace Forger. Apparently not on top of my game tonight. But next turn we're going to unload, so that should be good. Chewing Rats. Alright, Chewing Rats doesn't matter at this moment in time, which is good. And we're going to take one here. The reason why I think this is such a bad match is because of the fact that Mono Black just has too much stuff, simply put. And we're going to play the other Carapace Forger. The reason for that is because if I draw another artifact, this guy is only 1 mana, while these are always 2, so it just, in my opinion, I think it pays to just always use all your mana. Does he have a Victim of Night? Chainer's Edict, okay. Go ahead and sack the one that's not untapped. And he's attacking, so he probably has a dead weight, but I'm just going to let that go. No reason to block, I don't think, at all. He could also have an Unearth. I don't feel like dealing with that. That's not a bad draw. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can do 2 this, that. So we're gonna go ahead and attack for 4. For 1 mana, I don't think there's anything that gives neg. And if he blocks and goes to use the ability, then I'll just kill it in response because then I know he has another disfigure. But he could have a dead weight in hand, which is why I didn't block before. So here we're gonna play Mere Enforcer. And then we're going to play the Sombra Hoverguard. And just going to pass the turn. I don't plan on blocking with the Mere Enforcer, so it doesn't really matter. I'd rather make him think I'm blocking with the Sombra Hoverguard. Pestilence, okay. Well, that doesn't matter, thankfully. Does he attack me? He does not. Alright, let's see. Do I win? If I Galvanic Blast the Chittering Rats, I guess it doesn't really matter, does it? Flare Husk doesn't actually do anything at the moment. I'm just going to attack with all. I could have Galvanic Blasted him down to 12, I suppose. Although now it doesn't really matter. I think I have enough mana. Pay 1, 1, 2. No, I don't. Not to unleash both of these. Block and block, alright. And I'll just play Flare Husk and pass the turn. So I guess I would have won because he would have been at no, I wouldn't have won. He would have been at 9 and I could have brought him to 1. So it looks like a one game one. I guess my hand was just too fast and my opponent Yokai did not have enough to deal with all of my stuff. So we'll go ahead and Galvanic Blast, but I'm not going to use this in case because his only way to live right now is Tendrils of Corruption, which I want Fling to play around. I apologize if these recordings are not up to snuff. He deals 1, Sure, that's fine. If he wants to deal 4 damage with Pestilence, that's also fine. Sure. Sure. And we'll go ahead and fling the Carapace Forger just because it sounds cooler. And then we'll go ahead and Galvanic Blast for the win. And got there. So that is game 1. Good. He made it best 2 out of 3. So now against Mono Black, you don't really have that much. You have Dispels, and I don't like to really bring in all the Journey to Nowheres on the draw. However, a Tog is not that good. It's really only good for the Atog Fling combo. Rancor is pretty good because it just makes a lot of your creatures better and kind of screws up combat math. Flare Husk is good, but it's not incredible considering the fact that all the creatures are obviously very good at blocking 1/1s, while at the same time, they're really only good against Chainer's Edict. But I am going to bring out Rancor on the draw because I don't think that Rancor is going to be as good on the draw as good as it would be on the play where I have to be as aggressive as possible. And I am going to take out a Springleaf Drum, and the reason for that is I want to see one early, but I don't want to have the possibility of seeing 2 of them too early. And it's probably the weakest card out of anything that I could take out. I mean, I could take out a Frogmite, but Frogmite doesn't get blocked well by anything except for Kumbaj Witches. So other than that, it should be pretty okay. I'm going to keep this hand. I know it has 5 lands, but it's got a Frogmite and a Thoughtcast. Did my opponent have Duress? Oh, that'd be interesting if you brought in Duress. As far as I know, no mono black deck in Pauper plays any way to destroy artifacts. I know there is one way, and I don't remember if the card's a common or not. But we'll see. My opponent plays Sign in Blood. All right. Springleaf Drum. Okay. Unfortunately, I can't play Springleaf Drum, Frogmite, and a Tog, but I can play Springleaf Drum, Frogmite, and Thoughtcast. The question is, do I play a Tog? And I think I do. I think I play a Tog because the only real answer to it is my opponent having a dead weight. Considering the fact that we have 3 more lands in hand, my opponent can so I will actually sack the Ancient Den here if my opponent has a Chainer's Edict, making them use 2 removal spells on it. I'm fine with. If they disfigure it again, I'm not going to sack this time. Yeah, that's fine. With how threat light my hand is, I'd rather just do that. Well, that's not terrible either, but still, this time I'm just gonna go Seed of the Synod into Springleaf Drum, into Frogmite, into Thoughtcast. And hopefully next turn we can get something going. 2 more Thoughtcasts. That's not actually that terrible. So, Phyrexian Rager. Sure. And a go. Alright. 2 Carapace Forgers now. Alright, well, I'll just play both Carapace Forgers then. And save the Thoughtcasts for next turn. And hopefully that works out for me. Alright, so unfortunately my opponent had 2 Victim of Nights to kill both my 4/4s, and unfortunately had a Bajuka Bog to add insult to injury as well. Somber Hoverguard. Alright, so we're going to start off by going Thoughtcast. And we drew another Carapace Forger. Alright, so we're just going to go Chromatic Star into Carapace Forger into Somber Hoverguard, and we're going to pass the turn. And then next turn we'll go Thoughtcast again. It might be better to go Thoughtcast if you thought that your mono black control opponent had Duress in. But if Yokai has a Duress here, he or she is just a Stone Cold Master. So, alright, well, Great Merchant of Asphodel, that's fine. Not really. We'll go ahead and sack this for a blue since we have all of our colors anyway. Make it seem like we're drawing the Thoughtcast. Drew a journey. Okay, so we can journey to Nowhere the Gray Merchant, but the problem with that is if we journey to Nowhere the Gray Merchant, we don't have a way to answer a Gurmag Angler. But I think that's fine considering the fact that our hand is so aggro at the moment. So we'll go ahead and journey that. This allows us to attack with everything, and then I'll, of course, save the Frogmite. And I'm not going to play the Spring Leaf Drum right now. I'm just going to save it in my hand. He might block here. Yep, figured as much. Probably has an Unearth in his hand. And we'll play the Tree of Tales, and then we'll say go. So we drew 3 Thoughtcasts, so we don't really have a... Alright, we'll sack the Frogmite. We don't really have a potential way to get in a lot of damage, which is unfortunate. And a Geth's Verdict. Alright, well, I'll sack the Somber Hoverguard. If my opponent has a Gurmag Angler here, I'm screwed. They didn't. Alright, Chromatic Star. We'll go ahead and sack that for a green, since that's what we're paying with it, even though we drew 3 Cavers Forges already. We drew the 4th Thoughtcast. Okay. And the Mirror Enforcer. Alright. And we'll go ahead and attack for 4. Now here is the problem. My opponent, if they draw a land, already has 2 Chainer's Edicts. So, okay, well, now currently they are dead if one of my creatures gets through or if I draw a Galvanic Blast, so that's good. Okay, well, it looks like neither of my creatures are getting through. My opponent is going to 7. Looks like they just cycled into cycle. And they missed their land drop. Okay, so that's a good draw. So now we're just heavy on 4/4s. Looks like my opponent had the target player the edict side of things. Oh, and my opponent is not respecting a burn spell. I suppose my opponent believes that if I have a burn spell, they are dead anyway. Although I'm not really sure that's exactly true. So we're just going to go ahead and fling. And that should be the game. Alright, so we did end up winning the match. I think that did kind of showcase well how both decks go. I do still believe that that if you build mono black a certain way, Affinity has a very, very big trouble with it. But with this list, I've been having some decent success against mono black, as you just saw. So again, shoutouts to Yokai for offering to do this match for really no reason. But I'll see you guys in the top 8, and thanks for watching, and stay tuned.